What's up, guys? We got this week's best UFC bets for UFC 314 Volkanovski versus Lopes. And I'm excited. There are a ton of great matchups, a ton of underdogs, and a ton of money to be made on this week's card. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with my lock of the week being none other than Michael Olazejczyk to beat Cedric Dumas. Dumas lost to Josh Fremd, where he got outstruck and outgrappled and ultimately submitted. And Josh Fremd is a very mediocre fighter. And I feel like on the other end of it, you have Michael Olazejczyk, who, yes, is coming off of a 3-fight losing streak, but is going up against way better competition. He has the loss recently where he lost to Shatamagomedov, who is a very talented striker with devastating accuracy and nasty knockout power. And then you have the loss to Kevin Holland where he dropped Kevin Holland and then ultimately got submitted due to the freakish length of Kevin Holland. And then you have the loss to Michel Pieta before that. He's losing to some very, very skillful and talented fighters versus Cedric, who is winning against some bums in Dennis Tululin. And then you have the win over Abu Azatar, and then the win over Cody Brundage. But don't let that fool you. Cody Brundage was literally pulling Gilly 24/7, just giving Cedric Dumas the win. So that one was not the best look if you go and look back at that. I really feel as though Cedric has a huge hole in his game, and it's the left hands. He gets hit by the left hands, the short left hooks, and the clean shot straight down the middle from the left side a lot. And somebody like Michael Olazejczyk, who has stellar striking and has a nasty left hand, I feel like can catch him and can put him out. I really do. Cedric lacks with his head movement. He keeps it on the center line. Michael knowingly has a clean shot straight down the middle, a nasty 1-2, and I believe that he can land it and he can knock out a Cedric Dumas. Sitting at a negative 185, I love the odds for Michael Olazejczyk. I really do. And then sitting at a plus 135 for his knockout, I believe he's live for a knockout. I feel like Cedric Dumas is prone to these left hands, and I feel like Michael Olazejczyk has a nasty left hand and is going to sit him down. Yes, you have to worry a little bit about the grappling side of things, but I feel like Dumas doesn't have the best grappling. Like I said, he got out grappled by a Josh Fremd, and I feel like Michael Olazejczyk has good enough grappling in the sense to defensively snub the takedowns, keep this on the feet where he has the ultimate advantage over a Cedric Dumas, and get the better of him, knocking him out cleanly and finishing the job early. Give me Michael Olazejczyk by knockout. His money line straight down the middle is a great play, as well as putting him in some parlays. But that is my lock of the week. Let's go ahead and run it to my most confident picks of this week. Starting off with Dominic Reyes over Nikita Krylov. I think that Dominic Reyes can get the better of him. I think he has the complete and utter striking advantage in terms of speed. I think he also is quicker and more explosive than Nikita Krylov. Nikita is going to be looking to take this down to the ground, but I believe that Dominic Reyes' takedown defense is good enough to keep this on the feet where he has the advantage and outstrike and knock out a Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov, again, hasn't fought in 2 years. He's beaten Ryan Spann and Volkan Ozdemir, but that was 2 years ago. This guy is coming off of the couch, eating potato chips, and he's coming in there against a resurging Dominic Reyes who has been putting people out in Dustin Jacoby and Anthony Smith. I almost said Austin Smith. Anthony Smith. And look tremendous doing so. So I gotta favor the side of a more active Dominic Reyes who is surging and reviving his career and is gonna come back and show a different side of him and knock out a Nikita Krylov. Give me Dominic Reyes sitting at a negative or positive plus 151. I love the odds. You can run it straight down the middle with him, seeing as he's plus money. Not to mention the knockout sitting at a plus 375. Plus 375. That is crazy odds. I really feel like Dominic Reyes is going to be the quicker and more explosive fighter. Not to mention he has the quicker hands, he has the cleaner combinations, and the more accurate shots. So give me Dominic Reyes to knock out Nikita Krylov. And let's run it to my next confident pick in Chase Hooper to beat the old man Jim Miller. I really think that Chase Hooper can beat Jim Miller. I think that grappling wise, he's still going to be at the advantage in terms of grappling. I think he has the quicker transitions. I think he has the trickier submissions. And I think he knows how to advance positions a lot better. So give me Chase Hooper, the developing striker and the even better grappler, to beat the old veteran in Jim Miller, who has just not been looking the same. Yes, he has that knockout power, but I feel like that's all he's going to have in this bout against Chase Hooper is that knockout shot. Other than that, I feel like Chase Hooper is the more technical striker. I believe that in the grappling department, he's the quicker transitioner and the trickier submissioner. So give me Chase Hooper to outdog and outwork a old veteran in Jim Miller, sitting at a negative 900. Obviously, very hard to get value out of a negative 900 in Chase Hooper, but I do believe that he could lock up a submission. But we're going to go ahead and talk about that later in the DGen props side of things. But let's go ahead and run it to my next confident pick in Nora Cornell and Haley Kawan to go over and to go the distance. I believe that Nora Cornell and Haley Kawan is going to go the distance. You're going to see a lot of clinching, a lot of grappling, and some striking, but I see more of pressure fighting from both sides of them, landing some nice knees and everything, but basically just eating away at that clock is what I'm trying to say. Sitting at a negative 435 for the over 1.5 and sitting at a negative 200 for the over 2.5, I believe that it is live. I really do. I see both sides taking this down to the ground. I see Haley Cohen trying to pressure just like she always does, eating away at the clock in the clinch. Same with Nora Cornell. She tends to like the clinch as well, so they're going to be in the clinch a lot, and I see them eating away at the clock and this going the distance, and the overs absolutely smashing. That is why I have them as a confident pick. And let's go ahead and run it to the next confident pick in Sean Woodson to beat Dan 50K Ige. And I know it's going to be a surprise to a lot of you, but Sean Woodson has a insane reach advantage over Dan Ige. I believe he has a 7-inch reach advantage. Let me double check real quick. A 7-inch reach advantage over Dan Ige. He is the better striker. He has the cleaner, quicker striking. He has the nastier combinations. Yes, Dan Ige has some nice pop to his shot, but I believe that Sean Woodson is going to be able to keep him at distance, maintain that distance, use that jab, pepper Dan Ige from the outside. Not only that, I feel like his inside boxing is also really good. So I favor the side of Sean Woodson on the feet. In terms of grappling, he has relatively good grappling defense. He has good submission skills. He knows how to advance positions. I like the side of Sean Woodson. I feel like anywhere this fight goes, he's going to be the better fighter. Yes, Dan Ige has some pop in his shot and is always live for that knockout shot. But Sean Woodson also has some nice pop in his shot and has that huge reach advantage. And I believe he's going to use that to the best of his ability to get the better of Dan Ige, outstriking him, outworking him, and outdogging him, and getting the better of him. Sitting at a negative 177, I like the odds. I think that he is great to parlay or to just throw money on him straight down the middle money line. Sitting at a negative 177, not bad odds at all for somebody with a huge reach advantage and phenomenal grappling abilities along with the phenomenal striking abilities. So give me Sean Woodson to beat Dan 50K Ige. And let's go ahead and run it to my underdog picks of this week. And I'm excited for my underdog picks of this week. There are a ton of great underdogs, but as you guys can see, we got two underdogs in Diego Lopes and Patricio Pitbull. But we're going to start with Diego Lopes to beat Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I believe he can do so. I really do. I feel like he's quicker. I feel like he's more explosive. Don't get me wrong. Alexander Volkanovski is no bum, no slouch, but I feel like his time has come. I feel like Diego Lopes is super fast twitched. He has very clean combinations. He has very quick hands. He's very explosive in the pocket. He has a nasty inside boxing. He is a very exceptional striker. Along with that, he has exceptional grappling abilities. He can take you down. He can out grapple you. He can advance positions. He can land a tricky submission. I like the side of Diego Lopes. I really do. I feel like he's going to get the better of Alexander Volkanovski. I feel like he's live to knock him out, and I feel like he's live to beat him over the 5 rounds. I feel like many people are doubting him because of the Dan Ige fight, not remembering that he had a ton of weight fluctuations. He had to cut weight. He had to add weight to make it fair and to be at the same weight as Dan Ige. Dan Ige kind of got the better of it, seeing as he was at his normal weight. So you got to think about that and take that fight with a grain of salt. He came out and he performed against Brian Ortega phenomenally and didn't look any bit tired in that 3rd round. So I favor the side of Diego Lopes to beat Alexander Volkanovski. Sitting at a plus 125, you're getting great odds straight down the middle money line. I also think that he's live to knock him out, like I said. But again, seeing as he's plus 125 straight down the middle money line, I would just stick with the money line. He's a dog amongst savages, and I believe he's going to take home the gold this weekend. And let's go ahead and run it to my next underdog pick in Patricio Pitbull to beat Yair Rodriguez. And listen, Yair has a huge hole in his game, and that is the grappling side of things. And someone like Patricio Pitbull, who is so well-rounded, he has such a good striking game, he has such a good grappling game, he can take full advantage of Yair's inability to grapple. I really believe so. I think that, yes, even though Yair has that huge reach advantage, Patricio is going to be able to enter and exit the pocket. He's going to be able to close that distance, and he's going to be able to land some takedowns and land some big shots on that inside boxing range. So I feel like he's going to be able to get the better of Yair. Yair has nice kicks, don't get me wrong, but the hands aren't the greatest. He mainly uses those baseball bat legs over the hands. So I feel like I gotta favor the side of Patricio Pitbull. Even though he's old and he's 37, I still believe he's got it. I think that he has a phenomenal well-roundedness in his game, and I believe he's going to be able to use that to close the distance and get the better of a Yair Rodriguez, outstriking him, and most importantly, out-grappling him and landing some key timely takedowns in some key situations. Give me Patricio Pitbull sitting at a plus 170 to beat Yair Rodriguez. And I'm excited. I'm excited for these underdog picks. But let's go ahead and run it to my parlays. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and make sure you guys let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments. And let's go ahead and get into my parlays of this week. As these parlays go on, they get a lot more risky and a lot more degen, so do keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and start it off with the first parlay being Olazechek moneyline over 1.5 in the Cornell fight, sitting at a negative 112. I believe that is a safe parlay. Like I said, I believe Olazechek has a clear striking advantage, and I believe grappling-wise, he can keep this on the feet, snub the takedowns of Dumas, outstrike, and land the knockout shot, ultimately winning that fight. Over 1.5 in the Cornell, I believe, is a lock. I think Cornell and Kawan are going to be clinching a ton and going to be wasting the clock a ton. So I believe that one is a clear lock. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Woodson moneyline, Tulio moneyline, sitting at a negative 101. I believe that is safe as well. Woodson has a huge 7-inch reach advantage over Dan Ige. Not to mention he has a good grappling ability. I believe striking wise he can get the better of Dan Ige, seeing as he has that huge reach advantage, keeping Dan Ige at distance, getting the better of him not only in the outside but also in that inside boxing range, landing some nice shots and getting the better of him in the striking department. Tulio should be able to get the better of Tresean Gore wherever this fight goes. I believe he's a very well-rounded fighter with a very diverse skill set, especially in terms of striking. He is phenomenal. He knows how to pour it on, and I believe he's going to absolutely pour it on Tresean Gore and get rid of him early. Tulio moneyline is a great call. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Olazechek moneyline, Woodson moneyline, sitting at a plus 141. I believe that is live to hit, and I believe that is great value sitting at a plus 141. You're getting amazing value. Olazechek should absolutely knock out Dumas. Woodson should definitely get the better of a Dan Ige in a very tit-for-tat back-and-forth war where Woodson should win it. And then we have the next parlay in Silva moneyline, Hooper moneyline, Cornell over 2.5 sitting at a plus 150. I love the odds on this one. I believe Silva is going to knock out Bryce Mitchell and keep this on the feet where he has the ultimate advantage. Hooper, I believe anywhere this fight goes, striking or grappling, he has the better of the old-timer Jim Miller because he's more technical, he's quicker in his transitions, and I believe he's just going to be the better striker and grappler over the old-timer Jim Miller. And then the over 2.5, like I said, a lot of clinching is going to go down between these two, and some takedowns as well. I feel like there's going to be little to none, not none, but a lot less striking exchanges and more of clinches and grappling. So I love the side of over 2.5 and over 1.5 in that Cornell fight. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Reyes moneyline, over 1.5 in the Cornell fight, sitting at a plus 207. I love that. It is a great live dog parlay with Reyes in it. I believe he is going to knock out Nikita Krylov. Nikita hasn't been in the game in 2 years. He's coming off the couch. He's eating potato chips, and I believe Dominic Reyes resurging and absolutely dominating is going to come back in here, and he's going to show that he has still got it, and he's going to deliver a damning performance with a nasty knockout finish over Nikita Krylov. And the over, like I said, I went over it multiple times. I see a lot of grappling and clinching happening in that Cornell fight. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay, in which is one of my favorite parlays in Reyes moneyline, Olazechek moneyline, sitting at a plus 285. I love the odds on this one. Absolutely love the odds. They are almost 3-1 on two of my favorite calls this week. Reyes, I feel like, is a great underdog this week. Olazechek, I believe, is going to absolutely dust Dumas, sitting at almost plus 300. I love it. You guys got to take me up on that one. I believe that one is going to hit. And let's go ahead and run to the next parlay in Olazechek moneyline, Lopes moneyline, Woodson moneyline, sitting at a plus 394. That is the savage parlay of this week. I think it can hit. I really do. I think Olazechek is a lock. I think Lopes should absolutely outstrike and outgrapple a old-timer in Volkanovski. Not saying he doesn't have it anymore, but I just think that Lopes is a little bit quicker in transitions, a little bit more twitchy on that inside boxing range, and I feel like he can get the better of him on the striking side of things and even the grappling side of things. Woodson, like I said, striking advantage, huge 7-inch reach advantage, and he has a good grappling skill set, so I like the side of Woodson. Let's go ahead and run it to my live savagery parlay in Silva moneyline, Tulio moneyline, Pitbull moneyline, sitting at a plus 416. I love all three. I believe all three can hit. And let's go ahead and run it to my next parlay in the underdog parlay of this week in Lopes moneyline, Pitbull moneyline, sitting at a plus 454. I like both of these guys. I can't believe Lopes is an underdog. I can't believe Pitbull is an underdog. I think that they're both getting slept on. I believe a lot of people don't know the side of Patricio Pitbull, seeing as he's coming out of Bellator, but he's a very well-rounded fighter that can definitely get the better of Yahir in the grappling department and in the striking department, I believe, being able to close that distance and strike on the inside. Give me Pitbull over Yahir, and then Lopes, like I said, more fast twitch, quicker in his transitions. I believe he can get the better of Volk, not only in the striking department, but also in the grappling department. Love that underdog parlay sitting at nearly a plus 460. Then let's throw it to the big dog parlay and Pitbull and Reyes moneyline sitting at a plus 575. Like I said, Pitbull can clearly exploit the side of Yahir's grappling inabilities, getting the better of him on the ground and even in the striking department. Then we have Reyes, who I believe is going to be able to outstrike and knock out a Nikita Krylov who has been out of it for 2 years and hasn't fought as of recently, whereas Reyes is surging up and coming and dropping people left and right and looking phenomenal. That is the big dog parlay sitting at a plus 575. But let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in one of my favorites again. This is the robbery parlay. We are straight robbing the bank on this one with Reyes moneyline, Olazechek moneyline, Lopez moneyline sitting at a plus 690, a nearly 7-1 payout. I love all three of these. I believe all three of these dogs can hit. Even though Olazechek isn't a dog, I believe all three of them can hit, and I believe they can do so in some devastating fashion. I really do. I believe Reyes is going to knock out Nikita Krylov or go the distance, but more than likely, I see him knocking him out. Olazechek, I see him clearly knocking out Dumas, seeing as Dumas got outstruck and outgrappled by Josh Fremd. Olazechek is levels above Josh Fremd. And then Lopez, I think, again, he can knock out a Volkanovski, but he also could take it the distance. Let's not forget, Volk is a very tough, gritty opponent, and it's hard to get out of there. So ultimately, I do believe he could knock him out, but I also do believe he could win via decision. Sitting at a plus 690, like I said, I believe this one's a robbery. I really do. I think that we're robbing the bank on that one. But let's go ahead and run it to the D-Gen parlay of this week. In Reyes by knockout, Olazechek by knockout, sitting at a plus 1,016. I love the knockout parlay right there. I really do. I think that they can both easily clean and wipe out their opponents, and I think that they're going to do so. And let's go ahead and run it to the max D-Gen parlay in Reyes moneyline, Lopez moneyline, Woodson moneyline, and over 2.5 in the Cordell fight, sitting at a plus 1,103. I love the odds. Max D-Gen, max payout, max bread, and we're going to get it together. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.